All right, y'all, let's talk. So with the announcement that Erica Alexander and Kim Coles are doing a rewatch podcast of Living Single, where they'll not only talk about the episodes, but also give us some behind the scenes tea, they're obviously on a press run right now promoting the podcast, and the Friends stuff come up. And some people in the comments are asking, why do they keep bringing up Friends, and why is there always a comparison between the shows? But listen, there wouldn't be a Friends without Living Single, and I love both shows, and even back then, I noticed the parallel between the shows and between the characters. Back then, I thought, well, maybe this is just the version of this, but I still watched them both. Living Single premiered on Fox in 1993, and at the time, the president of NBC was asked if he could pick any show from any network, what show he wished he would have bought. He said Living Single. So a year later, in 1994, Friends premiered on NBC. Slightly different, strong similarities. And the frustration the Living Single cast has is that Friends is, for all intents and purposes, a copy and paste Anglo-Saxon version of their show. And I'm sure this wouldn't have been an issue if they were getting treated equally or better, since their show was out first than the Friends cast. The Friends cast filmed their show in a main studio, whereas the Living Single cast was on like a backlot. There were big pay differences between the shows. Friends cast obviously got paid more than the Living Single cast. And the Living Single cast would go to the execs like, hey, why are we getting treated like second-class citizens when their show is a copy and paste version of our show, but they're getting all the opportunities and all the money? Oh, and not to mention, T.C. Carson was essentially let go from Living Single because he was kind of the mouthpiece for the cast when they would have issues with what was going on in their treatment in comparison to Friends. He was the one who was talking in the meetings when they would go to meet with the execs. So they let him go because they were like, look, well, you're clearly the leader here, so if we cut you out, there won't be any complaints. But they were wrong because everybody felt like that. And it's very unfortunate, but we can attribute the treatment they got back then was really based all in race. Because back then, I feel like a lot of the TV execs didn't believe in black sitcoms and black shows. That's why they never really got the push that their white counterpart shows got. And that's why this is the perfect example. And I remember seeing a video a few years back that broke down and investigated that there were certain episodes of Living Single that were literally switched up and placed into Friends, like placement, character, script, just a bunch of different shit, and it was so interesting. And then I wondered, has there ever been any other Friends cast member that has said anything about Living Single and the comparison? Other than David Schwimmer, because we remember how that went when him and Erica Alexander kind of had a back and forth. But anyway, has there been any other cast member from Friends that mentioned Living Single? So anyway, let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, and also let me know if you watch both shows or did you like one over the other.